Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I just thought I should start doing a bit more sit down chatty videos, and to kick off this new phase, I thought I would just talk a bit about my first ever hackathon experience. So I took part in the Audrey Chen's Brainrot hackathon that I had seen floating around on LinkedIn. It was quite a last minute decision for me, as I was wondering how I was gonna balance it with working full time. And since it was online as well, there would be that added complexity of dealing with different time zones. So I wasn't too sure how that would work out. But in the end, I just went for it. Honestly, first experience, might as well do something and just see what the hackathon experience is like. Because I see a lot of Americans when they do it in almost halls at their uni or the campuses, and it's like almost locked down, locked in for around 2 to 3 days. So I thought it would be an interesting thing to have a go at. So I ended up going with two teams, partially because my first team wasn't progressing well at the start. My first team was a team of four, so myself and another team member sort of worked on brainstorming ideas before we found other team members, that is, and we landed on doing like an almost storytelling mode that would go for the lighter tracks, so that wouldn't be too time consuming as well, since it was both of our first times doing a hackathon. Eventually we found two other team members and we began to work on this, so we had to explore how we were going to build up on this. And we did explore Roblox, but we found out that wasn't going to be possible to implement in time with the time constraint that we had. So we landed on looking for open source code that we could build upon, and landed on the infamous Dino Chrome jump. So we built on this with another one of our team members. So he helped me go into the code and highlight the specific areas that would control the characters' movements so that we could implement our quiz feature in this. So eventually we managed to find where this was, and we implemented a quiz features and just ironed out how the controls would work for the characters and making sure that it was still a smooth game while these quizzes were popping up onto the screen. So come submission time, you may have noticed I only ever mentioned two other team members at this point. Come submission time, our third member, who hadn't been too involved in conversations on the group chat or saying too much and stuff, like when I would chase up whether stuff had been pushed onto the GitHub, since I wasn't seeing any changes made but my own, she would follow up with, "Oh, I'm still working on it," or "I have Wi-Fi issues." So when submission came, since we were doing this online, we submitted through dev posts, and she wrote a quite chunky paragraph about all this stuff that she had done, whereas we didn't have those features into the code that we had submitted. So I was a little confused, and I had to go into the chat because obviously we can't talk about features that we do not have. So I had to go into the chat to address this, and she said that she had pushed it to her own GitHub and that we didn't need it to be in the same GitHub, which I was a little confused about. But in the end, she just ended up taking down that comment. So that was a successful submission. Onto my second group. So my second group, I joined when the idea had already formed. So it's more so about just finding what I could do to contribute to the team. So I ended up working mainly on how we were going to deploy this and present it, since we were working on a website. So eventually I found render. I did have to pay for some of the aspects, as it wasn't updating consistently with every deployment that we made to Git. So I did have to pay a subscription for render, and we got that working successfully. Then came to the fine tuning steps, where I just helped with making sure the color scheme was readable, the text sizes were all the same and consistent throughout the pages, so that when it came to screencasting, there wasn't going to be any issue making that demo video. So in the end, that was also a successful submission. So first ever hackathon and two successful submissions as well. In the end, we didn't end up winning any monetary prizes for both the groups, but that was okay for me, as I really just wanted to be able to say that I had done a hackathon, because it's always the first step of putting your name forward and actually doing the stuff. So I was happy with that, and my plan is to potentially take part in more hackathons, see if I could get involved with an in-person one to have that experience as well, since I've you've done the online version, might as well do the in-person version and see how that is as well. So I'm going to keep an eye out on several other opportunities for that. But I would highly suggest anyone going for a hackathon, as having it online allows that flexibility to build it into your schedule and your availability and still get something submitted in, which I think is really good. But all in all, it's a great experience. I do suggest anyone going for it, as it is a skill builder. Well, that's all for my video. Join me next time when I do another sit down. Bye.